Welcome to this remote control quick tip. This is another very quick tip just for those of you particularly that have started building this year and making your own quadcopters, and it's a timely reminder for those of us that have been flying for quite a while and get a little bit complacent. So this is a model that we built a very long time ago. This was one of the first quadcopter kits that we did as part of the series. It has a little CC3D in the middle, a Fat Shark transmitter at the back, it has a Mobius camera, and we did another video where we talked about how I've added orange tape to that Mobius camera following this exact same crash that I'm going to talk about because I couldn't find that in the weeds. But the thing I want to talk to you about is checking the model before you fly. Now this has been one of those models, and you can see I haven't finished putting the props back on yet. And I thought before I did that I wanted to document this and share it with you. One of the things that we should be doing as pilots is checking the model over before we fly every time. It's very easy once the model has performed well and we have it tuned and flying as we'd like to just take it out of the bag, pop the battery in it, make sure that it hovers okay, then drop the goggles down and go and fly and zoom around. The challenge comes is that these props that are on a lot of these models, particularly the ones like this that are ABS, these are actually 6 by 3 inch props on these little motors. These are the Emax 2204 2300 kV motors, and this model has had probably the best part of 30 hours of flying on it with minimal maintenance. And I need to kind of fess up here, I have got out of the habit, because this has been such a reliable model, of doing a full check before I fly, and I think that resulted in the crash that I've just had. And what looks like it happens watching the video back is you can see we are missing a prop completely here, and watching the video back it looks like we lose authority on this back rear motor and it starts to tumble out the sky. Interestingly, looking at where the crash happened, only half of this prop could be found. The other half had disappeared, and what I think happened was half of the prop snapped off in the middle of the flight, and then we were in trouble. Now with these props, particularly these ABS ones, you will get a warning if they're not happy, and you'll tend to find that the problems can be seen at the root here where the prop connects into the actual prop nut. And if I show you the prop that's been damaged, this wasn't like this as before I flew, but you can see the props actually been bent over the motor. But you can see here that you get these very strong white stress lines in the ABS plastic, and if you ever see any of those on one of your props, then you should immediately stop what you're doing and go and swap it out for a new one. The other thing to be aware of is that the stresses that get put on these props when we fly are huge, and we're using more and more aggressive flying now. We are flying with higher kV motors, we have higher tuned PID loops and other things as well, which means that these props are having to work very, very hard to deliver the kind of flight performance that we're expecting as modern multi-rotor pilots. So don't expect that just because a quadcopter has flown 2 or 3 times perfectly before that you don't have to check for this kind of damage. Do double check it, and even if you've been flying for 10 flights without a problem, don't forget when you pull it out. I've been reminded I'm going to do a couple of things. One is check the blades are okay, and also just do a little visual inspection to make sure that no nuts and bolts are coming loose. And actually when you swap blades over, it's also a nice thing to be able to just drop a little bit of oil into the bearings in your motors, and they'll love you for it as well. So that's the quick tip today really. Don't be like me and get lazy and stop doing your pre-flight checks, because if you stop doing your pre-flight checks, then you'll end up with a crash. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel, and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.